Welcome back to the Fear
and Beer podcast,
where we discuss all things Halloween Horror Nights, horror movies,
and just a little bit of beer.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Seamus.
Like scary movies.
Uh-huh.
Here's Johnny.
It's alive. It's alive. It's alive.
Did you miss me? Aren't you drinking?
I never drink. Why?
Before we get into tonight's episode, we want to remind all of those listening on Apple Podcasts to drop us a 5-star review. It helps us grow as a podcast and build our audience. If you're listening on Spotify or any other platform, follow us, and don't forget to share with friends and family who might have a little bit of the strange in them as well.
And while you're on those socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, be sure to find us, Fear and Beer Pod. Give us a like, share, and you can always message us. We love to interact with all you guys. Opening weekend, come and gone.
Yes.
We are finally into the season.
I was a bad podcast co-host, and I only went one night opening weekend. But, hey, we made it happen.
I only did 2 out of the 3. We were going to do Sunday night as well, but things came up. We had some family in town.
I had an excuse. My parents were in town.
Yeah.
They're buying a place down here, so I had to kind of see them over the weekend. So I wanted to try to get there Sunday night, but unfortunately, pool party comes first.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, so what we're going to do is obviously we're just going to kind of talk about opening weekend a little bit, talk about just the aspect of being back in the fog. We're going to do our instant reactions for scare zones.
We should talk about the fog specifically a little bit tonight, because I had some things that I've noticed this year.
All right. So we'll get into that. We're going to talk scare zones this week for our instant reactions. And then next week we're going to hit on the houses. But yeah, let's get into some beer. Let's get this episode going because we're recording on Wednesday night and we're going to head right to HHN after this. So if these episodes during the season are a little bit rushed, it's probably because we want to get the fuck to Universal.
Well, Jesus Christ, we just released like 7 straight episodes or whatever the hell it was.
Exactly.
So people,
we're coming off.
I think
a
they're
bender.
I think they're cool with us, like, you know, taking our time because we're obviously enjoying it as much as everybody else.
We're coming off that 7-week bender. And again, thanks for all the support during that. That was huge. We had our highest play amount for a day for like 3 or 4 days in a row.
We hit 2,000 plays in a week.
We hit it was
2 weeks. I think it goes by 2 weeks. But either way, that's still like twice
for
as
us,
much or
crazy.
3 times as much as what it normally is.
So it moved us up in the charts a lot. Definitely had a lot of people talking. I think it introduced some new fans, and I had fun with it. They were fun episodes. I was really excited to post about it every day and just see what everyone's reactions were. So thanks for playing along with us. Maybe we'll do that again next year. We have to already start game planning because it took a lot of effort. But yeah, so let's crack into these beers before we get going. So Seamus provided these beers.
I did. I brought beers this time. So everyone go, yay, Seamus. So I brought a couple of Elysians. I was in the grocery store this morning or afternoon getting some lunch for myself. And I happened to come across this little setup, and it was like a big pumpkin celebration setup Publix has got. And part of the thing there was Elysian's pumpkin flavor pack, I guess. It's one of those, like, you know, you like Sam Adams has like a
mysteries or whatever.
Yeah, not even so much a mystery, but it's like a holiday pack type deal.
Yeah.
So they got like a fall pumpkin pack, which is like strictly pumpkin flavors. And come to find out, the one that Eric was drinking on our episode about the Halloween movie, last week or the week before, the one he had is actually in that pack, the Great Pumpkinchino. So I didn't bring those ones for obvious reasons. So I brought a couple different ones. I've got one, or at least the one I'm going to be drinking, is Elysian's The Great Pumpkin. It's an Imperial Pumpkin Ale, so I'm actually kind of pumped, considering the fact that we are going to Halloween Horror Nights after we're done recording this episode. And this is 8.4% by volume, so I might be pretty... I'll be enjoying myself probably by the end of the night tonight on a work night, because, you know, that's how we roll. But I'm kind of pumped. I've never had an Imperial Pumpkin Ale. I've had, obviously, standard pumpkin ales or whatever you call them, pumpkin ales, or they're called like... oh, man. I'm getting old. I forget things. But basically, it's a standard pumpkin ale, but it's Imperial. So it's brewed like an Imperial IPA, probably in some way. It actually technically is IPA, Imperial Pumpkin Ale, instead of Imperial Pale Ale. But I'm excited to give this one a whirl. So... looks like it's brewed with pumpkin seeds, and spices. So unfiltered and may contain sediment. So let's go. Well, it actually has a little bit of a paragraph here too. So the Great Pumpkin Imperial Pumpkin Ale. The Great Pumpkin is the world's first Imperial Pumpkin Ale. It's packed with pumpkin and roasted pumpkin seeds and spiced with cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, and allspice. So I am super excited to try this one. So I'm going to let you talk about the one I gave you, which I thought was pretty cool too. I love the artwork on that one.
So this one I'm interested in. So this is Elysian again, but it's Dark O' the Moon. It's a pumpkin stout. It's a 6.5% ABV, 20 IBU, so nothing too strong. It is like a pumpkin / yam beer. So we will see. I guess this was a 2010 silver medalist in the Great American Beer Festival category. So it's been around for a while. They put pumpkin in the mash, they kettle and ferment it. It is bittered with Magnum and finished with Saz and crushed cinnamon. So looking for that pumpkin-y, spicy style taste without that like pumpkin pie style vanilla finish. So let's see what we got here.
Yeah, I think it was like 2 for each flavor in the pack. So
yeah,
I made sure to bring like 1 each because I wanted to make sure I had one of those.
And this
as well.
is our HHN 2022 glasses.
Ooh, buddy.
This one does not blink up.
Mine
it
does.
already is broken. So yeah, there's
Ooh,
that.
look at that. Hard to see on the
On the
camera,
camera.
but it's got the whole police car lights going.
This thing is already dark as can be. Very thick. Looks like motor oil.
Mine looks like a friggin' pumpkin. It's
My
like
kind of
orange
beer
as
right
fuck.
there.
And the cool thing is by the time it gets from my refrigerator to this apartment, it warms up just a little bit,
Just to the right amount.
when I write, and I'm not just saying that to be funny. Like it literally does kind of warm up to the,
Ooh, it smells really
to right where you probably want to drink a craft beer, especially a stout. You don't want to be room temperature, but you also don't want to be like ice cold either.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to try this, but I'm gonna snag a picture of mine first because I'm a nerd, and that's what I gotta do. And I just got reminded that the Orlando City Lions are playing tonight.
Yep,
It's
the finals. The
for
roommates just left to go to the game.
Oh, did they move in?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
So this is, I'm getting a lot of spice off the nose. It's reminding me a lot of the, God, I forget the brewery, but it's the Christmas Bomb.
Prairie.
Prairie, yeah. It reminds me of Prairie, the smell. But the Christmas Bomb is one of
man.
my favorite beers of all time.
Smell that one.
Ooh,
Just like a
that's
pumpkin,
good.
dude.
It's like pumpkin and boozy almost. I can get a little bit
Yeah,
of
it's
booze
gonna
on
be
there.
super. It's gonna be
'Cause it's
super
an Imperial,
boozy.
you said, right?
It's an Imperial. Yeah.
That's gonna hit hard.
All
All
right,
right, well,
well,
cheers
cheers.
to HHN.
Oh my god. Wow, that might be the best pumpkin ale I've ever had.
This
and
is
I'm not
very-
even. And I'm not even just saying.
This
that.
one's good. It's not as heavy as I thought. I'm getting a lot of the coffee taste.
Yeah.
Still, not as much of the pumpkin or the spice. Just because I think, well, when you're dealing with a dark stout like this, that coffee is going to be a hard flavor profile to really counteract because it's so bitter. But it's good. I enjoy it. I like stouts. I like that coffee style taste. I was expecting a little bit more pumpkin-y or more spice, but maybe I'll get that on the back end.
It's always been my problem with coffee stouts in general, and for certain things it works, and for certain things it necessarily doesn't. Obviously, I'm not having that one right now, so I'm gonna try that on my own at home. But I worry that with something like that, the coffee is definitely going to be a lot heavier on the front than the pumpkin or anything else it's trying to do. So, granted, for coffee drinkers, it's probably great. For people that like the taste, like coffee, that works. But for me, I don't hate it. I think it gives an extra layer or an extra element to a stout. But if they're going for like pumpkin stout, I would almost rather them just do like a standard stout with pumpkin.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm excited to try that one at home. So,
That's good.
But this one's really good.
All right, so let's get into opening weekend. So Friday, I got there 3-ish or so. We got into the Stay and Scream at Finnegan's. We met up with a couple of our friends. I actually ran into some of the people that I did the HHN 365's trivia with. We met
nice.
up with Wit, was one of our players that we took down. We took the title.
Nice. Let's go.
Not much help from me. I mean, those basic, there's a lot of questions there that is one of those things where like everyone pretty much knew. So I knew those ones.
Right.
The other two on my team were definitely the backbone in some of those obscure, like really really funky, and some of them were shot in the darks too, where we're like, let's put it. It sounds about right. But it was a great time. HHN 365 is actually going to be hosting trivia again. I believe on Wednesday. This next
upcoming Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Remind me because I want to go with you
again at Half Barrel Project. That is the Wednesday that there is no HHN that night. There's a private event that bought out Universal, so there is no Horror Nights that night. So if you are in the Orlando area, go down to Half Barrel Project. Get there early, because if you have not been to Half Barrel, there's about 8 to 10 seats at the bar and probably 6 tables, most of which are two tops. It's a very small venue.
It is
the
very
parking
small.
is limited, so get there early. I completely lucked out. I got in and it was standing room, and there was one bar seat open next to this gentleman, and I was just chatting with him, and then Whit came down, sat on my right, took that last seat, and then the random person that we were talking to got up and left right as trivia was starting. And then that's where we met our third partner, Andrew, who came in. And then all three of us were like, we're all here by ourselves. We might as well just be a team. Like, we're right next to each other. It worked out perfectly. So that was a great time. Definitely fun. So go on down if you're in the Orlando area. So we started our night in Stay and Scream. We did Finnegan's. And thankfully, the rain was like kind of teetering the entire day. It was like, is it going to rain? Is it not? Is it not? It kept getting pushed. Thankfully, we did not have a case of last year downpouring.
Oh, thank God.
But right when we got in, we banged out. We went right into Halloween. We did that first. We went right into Spirits of the Coven after that. We banged that out. We went over and did Dead Man's Pier. We banged that one out. We went and did Chupacabra after that. And then by that point, it was getting really busy. That's our game plan usually most nights as we go. We'll do the Stay and Scream if we're available at that time. We'll get a bunch of done quick. And then when the wait times start to rise, that's when we just kind of walk around, hit the scare zones, grab some drinks. And opening night, I feel like opening weekend in general, honestly, you really don't accomplish a lot. It's a lot of
it's
just
very hard
seeing
to accomplish
people
everything.
waiting. Like, more often than not, I'm waiting with my group of like 15 to 20.
Yeah.
Someone's getting a drink. Someone's going to the bathroom.
And I think...
And I don't branch out. I do later in the season, but on opening night, it's more of like just seeing all your friends that you don't normally see every week.
I mean, for us, I think it's harder too, and we've said this before, is that like I think because at least in opening weekend, we go at such a large group of people, or we have a lot of people that meet up because we're friends with a lot of people in the area, and obviously, we're from the area, so it's not like we're here from some out of state, we don't know anybody.
Yeah.
So when we have a large group, it again, same thing where everybody wants to do something different, and you either have to split up, or if you're trying to stay together, it can be kind of hard to navigate everything. Now, obviously, that was his opening night. My opening night was a little different. I sat in a tattoo artist's chair for 3 hours, getting my arm blasted. So this is pretty much done, almost.
Almost there.
One more session to go, but I didn't get there till about 7:30 or so. Only got to do one house, Dead Man's Pier, and we'll kind of give our instant reactions next week on our next week's episode. But all things pointing up, at least with that house, anyways. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't from what I could tell, it wasn't overly busy for opening night. At least it wasn't as busy as I expected it to be.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be wall to wall, hard to walk around, but it really wasn't. I think obviously a lot of people were waiting in line for things.
Yeah.
I almost noticed that I think the lines for food was longer than a lot of the houses were.
Food lines were pretty long.
I mean, obviously,
I think people. I mean, it goes to show people are excited for the
right. And if anything,
stuff.
it should prove instantly to Universal that the food idea was one of their better ideas.
Yeah.
Like, this should be something that sticks going forward.
Yep.
And I think it will. And expanded, yeah.
The more the better, because then that will,
right.
Like we've talked about with houses and scare zones, you want to be people leaders. So if your lines are so long, if you throw an extra 2 little stands somewhere else, it'll help dilute it. And that's what they did this year. They do have more booths this year.
Yep.
So they're learning. They're slowly getting there. They know what they're doing. But yeah, overall, I mean, the weekend was great. Not the house, the
I haven't done that house
weekend.
yet, so I'm excited to try it.
Yeah,
I've heard mixed reviews.
Yeah, so I haven't. That's one of the houses I haven't hit yet. Hopefully tonight, and that's why we're going to talk about scare zones tonight.
Yeah.
Overall, scare zones are just. I think the talk of scare zones is just like, wow, And these things are a different beast than what we've seen in the last couple of years.
Yeah, they definitely went all out with this year's.
I mean,
Scare
the
Zones.
actors are awesome. The props are amazing. They're back in your face. They're not wearing masks. There's really only like one that is like stagey take pictures, but even that it's for a reason. It's a show sort of.
Yeah.
So it's not there just for photo ops.
Yeah.
Which is a huge upside.
Yep.
I think the congestion factor in San Francisco, I don't think it's over by any means, but this is a much better suited
So much
scare
better.
zone. The Central Park area is what it is. It's going to be clustered regardless what they do, and they still do it the correct way. The Hollywood area with Graveyard blew me away. It's back to being like a scare zone over there and not like the sideshow area where they put like, the Vanity Ball stage and the little stages for Eddies and it's stuff like that. So overall, man, the scare zones I think are top notch this year. And that's why I didn't get as many houses done, because I went Saturday night to get some filming footage. And if you haven't seen yet on our anywhere, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, I've been posting some cool videos of the scare zones, and that was footage I just shot on just Saturday. So we'll be shooting and taking pictures all through the season, so you can have some more HHN visual content throughout the year. But I had just as much fun walking through the scare zones 2 or 3 times, like doing a little loop, as I did going through houses, which something in the past hasn't been something I would say. Last year I enjoyed the scare zones and stuff, but I really didn't spend much time in them. I really would go through them simply to get to the next house, the next show, or whatever. So it was fun. So let's start right with the front of the area. Plaza of the Stars, the Horrors of Halloween. The Pumpkin Lord is back, looking badass.
Yeah.
That scare zone for me kind of lays where I sort of expected it. It's a little bit towards the bottom, based on the fact that all these, and let's get this first. I think along with houses too, these scare zones and houses, if these were on other years, would be
Near the top
notch. It's
Yeah,
a very
they went all
heavy-hitter
out
event.
with it. This particular event, they went all out.
Yeah.
I will probably not surprise many people. So the Horrors of Halloween.
Yep.
It's not as, it didn't wow me as much as I hyped it up to.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that has nothing to do with the Pumpkin Lord. I think he is
Yeah.
obviously the centerpiece of that scare zone. To me, it's less of a scare zone and more of welcome
like
to the event.
a gateway, yeah.
This is Pumpkin Lord. He talks, which is exactly what we wanted. He has that sick voice modulator. He's out in the open. He's ready there. The problem with him, the only issue, is just that everybody stops to take pictures.
Yeah.
It gets kind of, on a busy night, it can get really backed up there because everyone wants to stop and take pictures with him. And I get that. Totally understand that. I think it makes so much sense to want to do that. The only issue with that is it does kind of cause a little bit of a, you have to kind of walk around people to kind of get by. Yeah. But, I mean, he's so badass, I can imagine how people want to stop and talk to him. So, other than him, though, not a wild and crazy about this scare
just
zone.
a couple scare characters from other zones. And
So I think what I was expecting is what we get in the Sweets one, and we'll talk about that one in a minute. But I think some of the things that are, some aspects of that scare zone are what I expected to be in this scare zone, and they're not there.
Yeah.
And that's nothing, like, doesn't mean it's any less amazing. It's just not as,
on paper, you just had a
I
different
just
thing
imagined
into your
certain
head.
things being a certain place, and they weren't specifically where I thought they were going to be, and that doesn't make it bad in any way. But obviously, for me, like, Pumpkin Lord is the highlight of the event, and I love Pumpkin Lord, so I'm glad he's back. I'm pumped that he's back. I hope that we get
the blatant icon.
I hope we get a confirmation that he is a new icon.
Yeah,
that's what I'm waiting for.
I don't think they'll ever state it, but the fact, like, I mean, in his dialogue, he's saying, "I've taken over this event."
Yeah, he's
And
doing what icons do.
there are really cool, intricate pieces. I was chatting with Justin, lighting technician, one of our buddies that was on one of our past episodes. There's a lot of cool little light tricks in there too. So there's one comment where he talks about like his vines taking reach or whatever, and then as he says that, all the vines glow green and stuff like that. So the lights like match the dialogue with what he's saying, which you might not notice if you're just seeing. You're like, oh, cool, the lights changed. It's synced perfectly with whatever he's talking about.
Right, and a lot of the wall projections of the pumpkins are his vines.
Yeah.
So it's obviously him taking the event over, which whether you call him an icon directly or not, he's obviously an icon.
Yeah.
So I'm pumped that he's here. I'm pumped that they're giving that honor to him because I think we want to see him in the future.
Yeah. So this Scare Zone is pretty much. I think that this location is going to constantly be in that.
It's going to underwhelm.
I don't want to say bottom because it's really not a bottom. It's still really good.
It's just a hard area.
It's just because it is just a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Because I feel like other than this year and last year, it's kind of what it was. Anarcade was like its own thing.
Yeah.
While still setting the tone.
I would
have liked this Scare Zone a lot more if instead of having characters from other Scare Zones, if they were all like the little goblins from the house or like little mini pumpkin lords.
Yeah.
Like if you had like little pumpkin creatures. So that way it's less of a this is what's at the event and more of a this is our Scare Zone versus it would be its own thing.
Fortunately, it just suffers from where it is. I think the location of that Scare Zone is kind of where it brings it down a little bit just because what Universal, at least from what it appears to me, is they're trying to funnel people a certain way. Now, that doesn't mean you can't go the other direction and go down, not San Francisco, Hollywood, but they want you really to go under the Hornites sign, like go down that first main drag towards the Sweets Revenge, and basically the midway, like that area.
Yeah.
They want you to go that way first, and then go around the park and come out the other direction. So that's kind of why they do that, and I think that's why they design these Scare Zones a certain way, so that way this Scare Zone kind of draws you in when you come in the park for the first time.
Oh yeah.
And then that way you'll kind of go around because you don't really get much Scare Zone, obviously, from Hollywood when you first walk in. There's not a whole lot there to your right. But obviously the first thing that's going to catch your eye is that big sign, and Pumpkin Lord obviously this year is a big eye catcher. So
yeah,
I think that's kind of where, I don't want to say it suffers from that location, but it definitely, it doesn't rank as high as far as quote unquote square zone is taken into account, because this isn't like a scary zone. It's just a really cool way to hit you off right, get your mood up for the.
I mean, it's pinned right next to a shop and Despicable Me, so it's
exactly, and you've got the store that's right there.
So let's just keep on moving along. We're gonna head to New York now for Sweets Revenge. I mean, I love that each character is. I mean, coming from last year, Seek and Destroy to this, every character is distinctly different. The costumes are all very different. I love the stupid robot that's walking around.
Oh yeah.
The floats, the parade floats are massive.
It's awesome. They went all out with those.
I do like that they're like out in the middle. It kind of creates like a left and right.
It forces you to kind of see where the problem with this Scare Zone has always been that it's really wide.
It's just open and people are just walking around in the middle of it. They're stopping in the middle. The parade floats. Create a flow of traffic, which is nice. So I really do enjoy that. The characters are awesome.
The set pieces are great too.
Major Sweets in the big old suit, and then
the mayor, the dude that goes up onto the box thing and talks to
the
you.
Podium. I forget the female's name. She got the pink swirly hair.
I forget her name, but like
it's probably like Madame Sweets or something.
I'm
that,
sure.
I think. But I mean, just great set designs, great costume.
Even the secondary characters are really good too. The old lady, the little ladies that are walking around are really cool.
The little fake kid in the wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
If you saw our video that I posted today, which is Wednesday, that little kid prop is so cool. There's a lot of great characters in this. I mean, they're going all out, and I think they're having fun with it. There's a lot of little miniature pieces of the set that they can their certain character goes and interacts with. One of the little kids or one of the little girls or whatever runs over to the little lollipop stand where the head is and pretends to take the candy and run away. We got can shakers back, which someone laughed at us for suggesting, but
they're back.
But it's back and it's effective, and
you still got your chainsaws, so y'all relax.
But it works with that character because they're children, or supposed to be children.
Right.
It's great. The little pillow sack person that looks like
it is.
Jason Voorhees.
I'm not gonna lie to you. This is proof that with a good idea, a good creation, and a good set design, can totally transform the Scare Zone and make it really interactive. again, like you said, the floats are awesome. Like the floats are some of the best work
they made
I've seen.
legitimate parade floats. for
Yeah,
a
and they're
prop.
legitimate parade floats. They're not like converted parade floats from other things. Like, and they very well might be the same vehicle, but they designed their own specific parade floats. So Holly, if you're listening to it and you worked on those, they're awesome.
Kudos.
If not, if you didn't do it and someone else did, tell them that they did awesome.
Yeah.
No, they really do, and I love how they do funnel people.
Yeah.
Like it's not one of those things where you can kind of like just kind of walk straight down the middle and scare actor, boom, boom, done. And again, I don't want to throw too much at Seek and Destroy from last year, but unfortunately, it was very boring, very samey. The costumes didn't really do a whole lot different.
Yeah, they were all. I mean, it was,
and everything was to the side. And obviously, part of that is COVID, but also part of it was just I don't think the idea was as fleshed out as it should have been.
Yeah.
This one though is just it just takes you back.
Yeah.
And those props with like the podium and the tractor and the stands, that's what I expected to see in Horrors of Halloween.
Yeah.
It's kind of in that area. I was kind of expecting that sort of thing. So to have those there works just as well. I think it works great with that particular theme. I kind of wish we got more backstory through visuals for the Mr. Sweets.
I was hoping, and maybe I just missed it, but we'll see if it happens. I would love to see like the different characters take the stand, not just like the mayor. Like, I'd like to have Major Sweets up there doing a big announcement.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's to come or it does happen and I didn't see it.
Yeah, and it very well could happen. We just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. But overall, this Scare Zone is what I thought it was going to be. I love it. And like I said, I can spend as much time. I could spend hours walking around the Scare Zone. So let's just keep moving along. Let's head up to San Francisco now, where Conjure the Dark can be found.
Most surprising Scare Zone?
Yeah, because this was like the bottom of my list, and I have had a lot of fun with this.
Yeah, I wasn't super hyped about it. I wasn't initially bad dogging it, but like I said before, I wasn't really into the whole like warlock and sorcery type thing. But I think this is, at least for the two events that I've been to, and obviously just two events, but this is the best use of space in that Scare Zone that they've had so far.
I agree with that.
I don't think it was just a bunch of things kind of mishmash placed in things. It isn't one but gigantic music video, which I think worked for that particular event, but it works so much better here. It's open. It gives you a little bit of that stagey, that stage show type deal, kind of what oh my god, I'm so bad with names.
Unity Ball?
No, I'm forgetting. It's okay. But either way, the fact that we're getting more stage show, stage type things rather than just characters walking around.
Yep, and it's pushed like all the way back.
Yeah, it gives you so much space.
So it's just great. So
and
you're
then
not standing there in the middle.
Right. And people want to stop. They can stop closer to the stage and then not blocking, creating that bottleneck that you usually do in that area. So that works so well. So they really great idea doing that, recessing that stage back a little bit. And plus the props in that area are just so good.
It's great.
Very, very well done. Very well put together. I love the act that she does with like the cauldron and stuff like this and doing the magic and stuff. I love that her hair glows.
Yeah,
like
that was one thing. Again, Justin was talking about when designing it. They're like, okay, well, we need UV lights and stuff like that, but they didn't tell him why. And then, like, when he finally saw it happen, he was like, oh, because the costume is like black light. So like when those UV lights hit when she does the spell or something with the cauldron, the UVs hit and the makeup and the dress just like illuminate. And it's like, wow, so that's why you had me do that.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to hear the inside.
It looks so
intricate
cool.
parts
It
of
looks
of
very,
that
very
thing.
cool.
But again, like, I mean, if you think about last year, that state, like where Itsy Bitsy Spider was, that's kind of like where the back end of that stage is like where that stage starts now. So like it's pushed back even more. So it gets rid of that bottleneck. And
Gotcha.
With last year, all the multiple stages, it created these little bottlenecks everywhere versus this one stage, one big stage, and people can watch it without blocking everybody else. I mean, I did enjoy some aspects of Crypt TV last year, but the stuff that I enjoyed, like they had a set right in the middle of the fucking zone, and like
I think that they didn't. And again, I think part of it, again, we've talked about this a little bit, but I think it suffered from maybe just too quick. They didn't have enough time to really think about that.
Yeah,
maybe, I don't know, but definitely with the Crypt TV stuff, for me, it was more the costumes, it was more the characters than anything else. Like the look-see was really awesome. He looked awesome, or the Birch looked great, but everything else, like just the set design, like where the stages were, with those little like not, I wouldn't call them stages, but literally sets.
Yeah, little prop.
They're just kind of like
pop-ups.
they were just set up like haphazardly, and it was just in different places, rather than this, where at least there's some level of flow to it. So like you don't feel like you're
Makes sense. It's
you don't get
it's
lost
smart.
almost in it.
Yeah. So, yeah, Conjure the Dark. I mean, a big surprise for me.
Huge surprise. Maybe my favorite scare zone right now.
It's
If not, it's a close second to Sweets.
it's a close second to one that we haven't discussed yet for me.
Yeah, we'll get to that one.
So let's keep walking around. We're gonna hit the loop. We're going through Simpsons, and now we're in Central Park.
Yeah.
Scarecrow Cursed Soil.
I have some maybe hot takes about this.
Okay.
We'll see. And this is kind of why I wanted to talk about the fog.
All right, so let's have you kick it off then.
All right. So my first question for Universal would be: did you use a different fog solution this year? Because the fog feels so much thicker and harder to see through than it has been in the last couple of years. The fog works in a lot of ways. Unfortunately, in this scare zone, at least the night that I was there, and maybe it'll get different. Maybe the weather changing will I don't know, affect it a little bit. But it feels like you almost can't see anything.
Oh yeah, that trap's in there, and that's like
and that's fine.
Yeah.
But what's the point of wasting all the time on building props and sets and stuff if you can't even see it?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I don't. And again, I think it's probably amazing, like a set design. I would love to admire the set design. I don't want to have to go in the park during the day when the lights are on to like really admire what they built. When at night I can't see it because there's so much fog being pumped into there, which I think kind of hurts it. At least personally, to me. Granted, some people may be like, "No, it's great. It makes it so much better." I'm like, fine. Totally fine with that. But for me, it's just I think that there's too much going on.
There is a lot,
and it's less so in other parts in other scare zones. So like they pump fog in like in the entrances of many of the other scare zones. A lot of it's to mask scares as you walk in there, and I think that's fine. I think what they're trying to do is make the scare zones a little more jump scary, like the houses.
Yeah,
and that's great. But unfortunately, in that San Francisco area, I think what it suffers from is the fact that the fog makes it very hard to focus on what's going on.
Yeah, it's tough. I do enjoy this zone.
Don't take that as like I don't enjoy the zone.
But that is a tough aspect of it, where especially in this zone in particular, the fog definitely gets trapped in the trees and stuff like that. So like I get what they're going for with like the impossible to see. Boo, here, gotcha. But it could lead to safety concerns. It could lead to not seeing the props as well as we'd like to. Yeah. But I think one of my favorite characters might be in this zone already. It's the little like overall-y guy that pops out of the shed. Towards the Simpsons side, and he's got the little corn on the cob.
Yeah. Corn. I like corn.
This guy is or gal. I don't know who it is. But this character is definitely one of my favorites. It is exactly what I thought it was. The only thing that I did imagine was the barn having a roof, whether it was just a tarp roof or just even if you put just a black sheet over it, at least in the nighttime it would look dark. You wouldn't like see it. You would just see the black part of it.
Yeah.
Versus I wouldn't expect a full barn structure. But just some kind of tarp, and then on the outside of the tarp, if it was just designed as a shed, it would probably look very cheap in the daytime. But this event's not meant to be seen in daytime.
It's not supposed to be seen.
So I think that's one aspect that could have definitely elevated this zone. I love the entrance. I love having the car and the little windmill, which I believe are the same props from the house.
Yeah.
Having the scarecrow on the stilts to guide you in there. I love it. The big pig face guy, the big pig man in the little butcher suit.
Oh, I mean, the
overalls.
Some of the best scare actors
this is
in the event.
Yeah. And this is definitely the scary zone. The other ones are they do a good job, but it's all in the open, so it's a little hard to
I think that's kind of
scary.
That's where this one benefits from the location. Like I said it before, and I'll say it every time we talk about this, is that San Francisco scare zone just benefits from the fact that it has the wooded like trees that go over it. It feels more enclosed, and it creates more natural claustrophobia, and that's what makes it so much easier to get those scares. So it's obviously going to feel the scariest. I think my biggest gripe is just I feel like this fog is just a little too thick in that area. But maybe that's what they were going for, and if that's what they were going for, then they succeeded. So, either way, it works out for them.
Yeah, I think it's definitely what they were going for.
I just wish the fog hovered on the ground a little bit lower.
Yeah.
Like it felt more like you were walking through soup rather than walking through like a wall of just smoke.
Yeah. It definitely
and again,
it definitely plays a big factor.
Take my opinions with a grain of salt. I've been there one night this event so far, so give me a break. Maybe tonight it'll be different.
These are our instant reactions, so these are not super well thought out. These are just our off the brain, off the cuff. This is what's happening.
I haven't even had any of the food items yet, so I plan on doing that tonight.
Had bare minimum, but they are all very good so far.
They will be happening.
So let's just continue on the way down, unless there's anything else about Scarecrow.
Nope.
And let's get to, I think, my favorite zone.
Okay.
Graveyard Deadly Unrest.
I will
out in Hollywood.
I will admit, I thought I had done all of them. This is the one I forgot. I have not done this one yet.
So this one,
I'll let you kind of talk about how you feel about it, and then we'll experience it tonight when I get there.
So I did not do this on opening night because I didn't do that. I saved it. I unintentionally saved it, I guess.
We did a lot of standing around
with
Friday
Stay
night.
and Scream 2. You also start like in the middle,
right?
So like we did suites, we did those houses, and then we did like a couple loops around. We did one loop around the back and kind of hung out or whatever. And then when we called it a night, we went back through the front, right through
Horrors of
Halloween again.
Yep.
So I didn't hit this one because I was wanting to save some stuff for the weekend because I feel like my girlfriend appreciates the fact that this year I didn't drag her around to every little thing on opening night. She's like, we have the entire 2 months. Why do you have to do everything on the opening night? I was like, I don't know. I just want to. So like I reined it in a little bit. I did a little bit less. I'm spacing it out so we can enjoy it over time, blah, blah, blah. But when I went in on Saturday to go do some videos and stuff like that, I think this was the last one I did because I went in, I did Horrors of Halloween. I did the normal loop. Horrors of Halloween. I hit Sweet Revenge. I went out. We did Scarecrow. We looped around backwards and hit Conjure the Dark. And then I was like, all right, we got one more to go to. I haven't gone there yet. And, I mean, the makeup in this zone, the design of this zone, it's a breath of fresh air having a zone there that is not
so it's not
just
zombies.
Stages. There's some zombies.
Okay.
But there's really cool, like...
But it's not, like, boring zombies.
No. So there's some stereotypical zombies. But then there's also some hooded characters with, like, black light makeup.
Oh, cool.
There's these big gargoyle-y bat vampire creatures with swords that are on a stage that do, like, a little... Not show, but they're moving around.
Well, yeah.
There's some of my favorite ones are, like... Their costume is so that they look like those like tombstone statues of like angels. They're all white and drapes, and they do the jump scare like that. So it's not 100% just zombies walking around.
Nice.
No, so the makeup, the costuming is good. The lighting in there is amazing. This is the zone where we get like the thunder and lightning effects. Okay. So we get like the strike of the lightning and then or the thunder, and you see the flashes of the strobe for the lightning effects. This one I've had the most fun with.
Well, now I'm excited to give it a shot.
Yeah, and this was the biggest surprise
because this is the one that I think this was my lowest typed one.
This was one of my lowest ones, if not the low. I think Conjure the Dark was my lowest, and this one was right there as well.
Now I'm excited to try it.
But no, this is one of my favorite zones. The characters all did a great job. There's a lot in there that were they gave me a lot of very good shots for the video. So I hope they end up finding it because there's some good stuff in there. Not to toot my own horn, but I had some fun with these things. No, overall, I mean, it's just a strong year. It's a strong year for scare zones, and this is weekend. This is our opening weekend.
This is opening weekend. Like we're hitting just week 2 now. Like starting week 2 tonight. So like it's gonna be hard. I think one of our hot takes was this event's gonna be very very difficult to top. And I really do think after just one night, I think this is going to be an impossibly hard event to
tough.
top for them. I think that going forward, it's going to be great, like it usually is, but people are going to be talking about Horror Nights 31 Orlando, I think, for years to come. I think this is just going to be one of those events that, God, remember when they did this house? Remember they did that house, this scare zone, that scare zone? We're going to be talking about these different things for years to come. I think we're going to be asking for Mr. Sweet's house in years ahead, years in advance.
That's an episode to come, maybe.
Oh, I'm sure we're going to have
we can do which ones of these would be translated best. I mean, I'm very curious too, because we're judging off opening weekend, and we know that history shows opening weekend's tough because like Scareting, like
they're still
getting
the bearings, but I mean, they must do some hell of a lot of practice because like even opening night, they still come off like they've been doing it forever. Like it, and again, obviously it comes with the fact that they hire a lot of the same people. They come back again every year because it's such a good thing to work. But just having their character down and really knowing what the role is, and I know I'm making it sound really over the top compared to what it really is, but I think that they really do put a lot of heart and soul into it, and I think it shows in a lot of these. At least again, I've only done one house, so I haven't judged any of the houses yet. But the scare zones, if the houses are even half as good as the scare zones, this event's going to be amazing. This year, and it's only going to get better. Because like I said, we're only in week 2, September. We've still got another month and a half to go. It's just gonna be crazy.
All right. Well, like I said, next week we're gonna be back doing instant reactions on the houses. I know we cut this one short, but I just checked out the wait times, and I'm excited to get over there because it doesn't look too crazy right now. So let's wrap this thing up. We'll be back next week. See you in the fog. This is Nick.
This is Pumpkin Lord.
Happy haunts. See ya.
It's cursed. It's got a death curse.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare,
And again, I would just like to thank Vampire Stepdad for letting us use his music for our intro and outro music. So if you would, just go check him out. Spotify, Facebook. Again, that is Vampire Stepdad.